and welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and I've got a mixture of a de-kitting and a what to do with those diamonds that don't have DMC numbers. So it's a bit of both. There's been a lot of asks about what to do with diamonds that don't have DMC numbers. My grand scream up till now has been this plant pot from IKEA that I have labelled diamond spares, and that is where they all go. That is just where I put every single pattern that I've done or my daughter's done that do not have a DMC number. And then of course there's a lot of people asking, it will need something doing with it at some point. Some people get rid of them, some people give them away. But I'm going to help those that want to keep them, but want a way of sorting them out. Now, there are a couple of different ways or a couple of different things that I'm going to do for using them up, rather than getting them away. But my first video is going to be a way that you can try and find the DMC numbers that they're for, and get them away with a DMC number. But hopefully in a way that won't be too bad. So this is one way out of two. There will be future videos on it, but there's other stuff I need to do to prepare. So first thing I think is first is I need to tip these out. Oh look, there's a random toolkit in there. Let's put that in the toolkits box. Okay, so some of them do have labels and stuff on them, and that is from paintings that they were for. So whatever the number 5 was. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is sort of put them into colour groups. So I can have all the pinks in one place, all the purples, all the blues, etc. So pink, blue, pink, a bit more than red, neutral, pink, pink. I'd say that's a green. So it's very much hit and miss, but that's sort of a greeny brown. That's more of a brown. They're more pinky peaches. We've got white, blue. I think orange and brown can go together, and then maybe I'll put sort of a black and a grey together. So this is probably the part that is going to take the most time. It's probably more of a brownie slash purple. It's the whole problem. So they're greys, that's brownie, peachy. Let's put that with the pinks. This is probably the hardest part of it, is sort of what sort of colour does it look like. I think I'm going to put orange and brown together, because you do end up with so many crossovers. Then we've sort of got a purple, that's more of a red. And you can always, of course, group these even more, but I'm thinking I'm best with just something that's quite simple. See, again, that sort of peachy colour. In fact, I think I'm going to put that in browns. That's definitely more of a yellow. Now, of course, you may not have quite as many as this to start off with. That's a red, reddy brown. You probably don't have, or you could have even more than what I'm sort of starting off with. I am starting off with a lot, to be honest. And some of these, of course, some of these that are classed, or I'm looking at them straight up and thinking they're a black, could end up being a very dark blue. And there may have to be adaptations made as I'm going along as to what they really are. That went into that one, didn't it? Blues, greys, pinks. So basically I'm going to sort of sort all of them into a rough colour. I will then have probably some baggies, maybe, where I keep them in their colour. I'm guessing that's black. Could be a dark blue. Yeah, and then I'll put the colours into sort of a bigger baggie, so that they're all in roughly the right groups. And of course we do have random diamonds mixed in with these as well. And then some of them just cross over. So some of these that I'm like, oh, that's a bluey grey. Or that's a pinky purple. But I'm just going for the colour that sort of grabs me first as to what they are. And then I'm hoping that with the one that I have here, so this is a dekitting of a painting that has DMC numbers. So my hope is to try and match up to the ones that I have. So it's not going to deal with all of my spares. That's probably more green. It's not going to deal with all of these, but it is a way that you can deal with them in bite-sized chunks. So once you've done this big initial sort out, it will be bite-sized chunks. You will just be matching up for a painting that you're dekitting. And eventually, where's the browns? In fact, that's a purple. And that's probably more of a yellow. It's probably what's not helping, so I'm putting them on the wrong piles. I think there's a few very dark browns in with those blacks. Oh, I've got smaller bags here. Okay. Purple, red, yellow. That again is one of those. Could be a green, could be a blue. That could potentially be a purple. I was hoping I was near the end, but I don't think I am. So, let me pull out those that look in blue. That definitely looks like a 939. And some of them you will probably recognise the numbers. Just from, if you've been diamond painting for a while, for definite, you may recognise the numbers and think, oh yeah, that looks like it could be that one. But if you've not done diamond painting or cross stitch before, then it could be that you just don't know. Did I put the peachy ones in with the browns, didn't I? Okay, so we've got brown, grey, green. That's a very dark brown. Pinky purple. Lots of blues, as we can imagine. Lots of greens as well, actually. There's a few. That's a greeny blue. That's a green. I've just pulled out a few that have just spotted sort of on the top as well. Pink. Nearly there. Whites, purples. I was going to pause the video while I did this, but we're going for the full process, people. And I've put green on top of red. Doing well. Say this is all about a rough idea. So reds, pinks, blues, and you could start sorting them like this when you dekit a one that doesn't have DMC numbers. You could choose just to put them in your spares as colours. So you could just create a section in your spares that is purely colours, a bit like I do with the special diamonds. I think oranges and yellows have sort of mixed in together. That'd be fine. That'd be right. Pinks. Yeah, so you could just have a section that's like that if you do decide that you want to do other projects. Okay, I can't work out if that is a very dark brown or a black, so I'm going to put it in the blacks because I do know that I have black in this one that I need to dekit. So because I do, it may be that I can find a match or determine that it is definitely not a black, and in which case I will move it into the blues. Purple, and then last one, it's probably more of a red. Okay, so my tub's empty. So let me get that out of the way. So we've got blacks and greys, white and cream, brown and peach, blue, green, yellow and orange, red, purple and pink. that's the colours I've ended up with. So my thought is I will see if any of the colours that I have match what I've got that I know the number for. So first number is 154, which is a purple. Let me find a tray. So I'm going to tip these into a tray just because then it's easier to see and to match up. Now, of course, some die lots between different companies are different. So it may be that it doesn't match 154 when I'm doing it this time, but it could match a different companies. That's fine. But these purples are definitely not. That one looks as though it could be. That one doesn't really match this one. Neither does that or that. Those definitely don't. And then that one doesn't. They're all too light. That one, not quite. That one again, not quite. Definitely not. Okay, and they don't. So I'm going on purely matches. Okay, so these two, in my opinion, match. So what I'm actually going to do for the sake of ease is I'm going to tip them all into the same one. And to me, it's still definitely looking as though it matches, which is always good. So I'm going to move those out of the way and I'm going to grab my spares box. Just trying to find space to put these piles so that you can see what I'm actually doing. And then I'm going to get my 154 in round, which is hidden here. Because these all, now I do have some diamonds that are square. So that's the only thing I do need to pay attention to. I don't want to tip square and round into a tray and mix them all together. But they are all now a pretty good match for 154. I'm not particularly seeing any that are glaringly obvious different, even ones that I'd put in before. There is one rogue diamond in there though, but that can just stay there. Okay, so that is 2 bags out of my I don't know what you are that are away in my spares. No longer causing me any more trouble. And I'm going to do the same sort of thing for the whole of this kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through the purples first. Let's take off that label because I've done that one. So that will stop me getting confused on numbers. So the next one is actually 315. So I'm going to see if any of these purples match. And because I'm using clear bags, it's pretty easy to tell. And I am going for a very good match rather than a it's close match. But that's just because there is the chance. That's not exactly right to me. See, some of them are very close, but I know with DMC numbers, there can sometimes just be a very, very slight difference. And some of these are obviously going to be a lot harder to match up than others. But no, to me, none of those match. So for the purposes of this way of dekitting them, or of finding them, I'm just going to go for it. And even when you look at this, the ones I already have are completely different as well. So do I have any that match this? Nope. So, as I say, I'm not bothered about die lots, and any that I find don't match any numbers that I'm doing, I will deal with in another way in a future video. But that is those 2 done. So, did this picture have any more purples? So it's quite handy, you can turn over these to see if there's any more purples in there. No. So I've got no more purples in this picture. Now, of course, I could go through the whole of my spares box, checking any that I've already got. But the point is that this can be done bit by bit, is the idea. and that you can match them over time. What I am going to do before I pop these into a bag is I'm going to see, so I'm going to group, so these are all the lighter purples, and I don't think any of those match exactly. Now they're close. Let me see if I can put them on the back of this white tray. They're close, but they don't match exactly. If I find any that do match the same, like these two, so for example these two in my opinion match, I'm going to put those two together in one bag, because then when it comes to matching up later in future diamond paintings, they're both the same. So was there any others that match this? So you could do this before you start doing the rest, and it might be a bit easier, so you're checking less bags. It really is up to you which way round you want to do it. So let me just pull out the square ones before I go making a very big mistake and mixing up. So these are all the squares. Do any of those match? No. Okay, so squares to the side. Then let's have a look at these brighter colours. So those two I'd say are pretty much the same. Yeah. So I'm going to pop them into the bigger bag, but that's just because I use these ones for my spare diamonds. So, whereas these bigger ones I tend to just use when I'm de-kitting one. So of the brighter purples, I think we're done with matching there. Those two don't match, neither does that. Okay. Paler ones, nope. Medium ones, yeah, I'd say those two are pretty close. I'd say those two match, I'd say those two don't. So I'm going to tip these into here, and I'll sort out all my baggies and reusing them afterwards. For now, I just want to have less bags to deal with each time I need to figure out what DMC numbers go with which. Okay, so purples are done for now. These don't have a number, they don't have a home. Let me see if I have a bag that's bigger. So this is sort of my little grip seal bags that are a bit bigger than normal. Let's see if I can get all the purples in here. And this will help with the next stage, which is another way, the next video that I'll, hopefully the next one that I'll do on matching DMC numbers. So that is now my bag of purples, all done and dusted. So next, so the next one that I need to dekit is a 310. So that is always going to be a good one, and always probably going to be a big one that you can get rid of, because black is black. Now that's black, but it's square, so I'm going to keep that up there. Then we have grey. See, now those, as soon as I put them next to the black, they're actually dark brown. So I'm not sure if the camera is going to pick it up, if the light is going to pick it up, but believe me, when I look at that in the naked eye, that is dark brown. So I'm going to move that to the browns. Put all my greys to, that's definitely a grey. Okay, so we've got some black. Whoop whoop. We've got some more that's actually dark brown. In fact, I'm going to keep those two to the side because I might combine those in a minute. Grey. They're black. Greys. Greys. That's actually a dark brown. Grey. Grey, grey, grey. That's a black. That's a lot of black. Okay, those two definitely aren't. That isn't. That's black, grey, That is black. That is black, but in square. Then that's black, and those two are greys. Okay, so on this one, of course, with 310 and black being a very, very popular colour. In fact, is that black? No, that's dark brown, but in square. So these are all black. So let's get some bags emptied. This has done well for emptying my baggies. Which, say, is to be expected if you do quite a few diamond paintings without DMC, well, quite a few diamond paintings in general. You'll know that many of them have 310. So going back to my spares box, here are my 310s in round, of which I already have 3 bags. Fun, fun. Shows how many paintings I end up with spares from. And then I also have this bag. I used to keep these bags separate. I don't anymore. They all go in, they get opened up and they all go in with the rest. And are they all going to fit? Oh, yes they are. Okay, so that bag's pretty full. I might be on a new bag the next time I do it, but for now, we're good to go. Now, the 310s for my squares, at the moment, have a very nice, huge, big grip seal bag that they all live in. So I'm just going to throw them in with the rest. I will get something pretty eventually. But you know, they're happy in their little home. They all sit in there together. And they'll get used on my Heaven and Earth Designs painting. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so that is 310s done. Bonus. Okay, now we do have more greys, so we have 318 is a grey. So let's have a look if any, not quite. So I'm splitting these up into sort of lighter greys and darker greys as I go along. Just because it would probably be best to combine them before I end up checking every single one. That's probably more green. Oh, that's a good match, but that is in square. That's not. Oh, that's definitely not. Nope, nope, nope. That's more blue. They're all dark grey. Nope, nope. Okay, so we haven't got any for this, but we have got some in square. So 318 in round can go away. And this is actually a colour that I have quite a few different shades of in my spares. In fact, I'm wondering if that matches that one. No, not quite. It's close, it's close. Okay, and then my squares, I can then pop these squares into. So this is a longer process for dekitting, of course, but this is a way that you can give numbers to your paintings that don't have one in a way that hopefully won't be, you know, a full day process, in the fact that you're just doing the numbers that you dekit. And of course, as I say, it's a process that will be quicker. My camera decides to save the footage, which means I've been doing this for at least 25 minutes. It's not that quick. Okay, so, do you know what? I've just started sort of getting ready to match up this one, and I'm actually thinking, with these greys, grey is such a hard colour. It might be better to try and match up any. That's more of a blue. that go together straight off and see if I can whittle down my bags a little bit. So maybe you could do this in 2 sections. So the first section being to get your diamonds separated by colour and grouped together where you can into one bag. That's more of a blue as well. That's square. So that definitely needs to be separate. They're both round. Do they match any? No, not really. This reminds me of doing paint swatches. That's square as well. So there's no point in mixing those two together. Okay. Now there are some that are close matches, and it may be that I decide to combine them together at some point because they're close enough for me. But for this process, I'm trying to get an exact match to what I've already got. So they're more of a beigey colour, so I think I'm going to put those in with browns, because to me, if I got hold of just this colour, I wouldn't say grey. So I'd say it's a beige. Okay, so that one's a no. In fact, do I have any more? Oh, I do have more grey, so I'll have a look at those in a minute. They're a no, but I do think they match each other. So I'm going to combine them for the sake of not dealing with as many bags. Okay. So those two, these I think are all pretty much the same. Do they match this? No. Oh, now that one does. No, it doesn't. Your eyes start going funny after a bit. So let's get those together and let's get this one in there. And this just helps me, as I say, to deal with less colours when I'm trying to match up. Okay, so this is sort of a lighter grey. Well, those two are in fact different. They don't match. That doesn't match. And all the rest are getting too pale. Okay, so this is 414. So I'm going to go back to my spares box and get out my 414 in round and pop those in. Now you could at this point check any others that you have as a colour for 414, because I do have a couple of different shades, very slight variations of shades in this bag. But for this process, as I say, I'm just working on what exactly matches, and I'm just trying to whittle them down a little bit is what I'm trying to do. Just a little bit. Okay, that one's been emptied. Woohoo, we do have an empty pot. Okay, we have another grey. So this one is 415. This one's a lot paler, so if we don't have any matches here, we pretty much no. Okay, so oh, does that match? No. Okay, so 415. I also have a bag for that. It's another colour that I've definitely done before. Okay, so 415 is away. No more greys in there. Here's another grey. So this is the palest grey that I can think of in sort of memory. I've just forgot to peel this label off, so I'm just going to get the label off this one, because then that number is out of the equation. I'll fight with the rest of that sticker later. Okay, so 762. I think the only one that, yeah, so that actually matches my square one, but it doesn't match any of my others. And I think that's it for grey. Yes, that's it for grey. So all of these Oh, and I've got a rogue one. Sorry, I am not matching one rogue one up. All these will now go into a baggie similar to my purple ones. And they can then go into back into my spares diamonds tub. Back into my plant pot for later. Okay, so this one, 762. So I just need to get my next spares box. Let's put those scissors back. Okay, so my next one's my 700s to my 900s. 762. I do have a bag for squares. Oh, I nearly mixed them together. These are round. So let me put the rounds away. So that's got 2 different shades in as well. And this 762 in squares, I have about 3 different shades in it. But if I ever need spares, I can match it up according to the closest, depending on what the painting I'm working on uses. But 762 in a real DMC colour is more of a grey. Okay, so that is all the greys done. So I'm going to pop this box back. Let's have a look. What's going to be... Okay, let's do the white. Because B5200 is a white. And I reckon there'll be a few of those. That's more of an off-white. So's that. Those two I think are actually the same. That's white, that's white, and so's that. So that's another popular one, and these are all rounds that match. So I'm going to tip these all together. And in DMC colour wise, this is classed as a B5200. We've got a rogue black one or a rogue dark one in this as well, which sometimes I fish them out, sometimes I don't. So in my spares, my B5200 actually go right at the beginning. So I'm going to bob all those in. And I know they're the round ones because of my new round sticker. Whole new process for me to do round stickers, but I'm liking it. Okay, so those two definitely are the same. They're probably from the same kit because I do have a leftover bag. That's slightly different and they're squares. So I'm going to tip these in now while I'm on a mini sort out. And then I might just start working from the smallest amount of colours up to the biggest. I'm going to change it up a little bit. So those two can go together, and there's those two. And I'm going to see if these will fit in one of these little bit smaller bags. Just because I don't have too many bigger bags left at the moment. I don't use them that often, but they'll fit in that smaller bag so they can go away. Where did my purples go? There they are. So I'm going to put those back in my plant pot, but now they're a bit more organised. So let me try not to make too much noise. Okay, so reds. Let's get rid of the label off that and let's have a look at reds because we don't have too many. And I don't actually think this picture doesn't actually really have any blues in it. So I don't think we're going to be fighting with the blues apart from grouping them up, which is possibly a good thing. Okay, reds. So they look very red. They actually look the same. That doesn't. That doesn't. That looks the same as that one. That looks the same as that. That doesn't. That's a little bit toned down. That's actually more of an orange. That looks a very bright red. And that looks a different shade of burgundy. Okay, what reds do I have? That's pink. Okay, so I have 666, which is red, and that's what I'm thinking these are. Oh no, it's actually this one. This one is red. Ish. It's still looking like a red. So, colour, the Devil's Colour, 666. And that actually is looking like, oh, those top two. No, the top three are looking exactly like what I've got in the bag already. So I'm going to put them all in. They're all going in. I'm just putting my rubbish off to the side because I'll deal with that later. They're all looking the same red. They're at least close enough that I'm not going to notice any difference. But that one, oh, see, it does look like it matches the others. There we go. We have a red hue. So we'll get all of those reds in with that same one. And they all look very similar, if not the same to me. Not much difference. There is a very, very slight difference on some of them, but again, dye lots can make them different. So that is that one. Okay, they're orange. Do we have any more reds? We have a red here. So this is 817, but that is not that one. So moving. So this is a little bit bitty in my boxes, as in I'm not working from one box to the next. I am having to flip about a bit, but it's, let me just check, that one's not, no it's not. But we are getting rid of quite a few colours out of my diamonds pot, so it's worth it. And I forgot to take that label off. So we are getting there. We are getting there with how many we've got left to do. Is that a red? No, that's a brown. Okay, so that's the reds done. So I'm going to combine the ones that I think are the same colour. The only reason I didn't do it before matching up the actual reds was I'd end up tipping it into a bag and then I'd end up tipping it into my tray anyway. But they were grouped, so they were there and ready to deal with. And then these two I'm going to put together. That one, did I say that one was different? No, that actually looks the same as well. I'll group all them in as well. And then I'm only dealing with 3 different shades of red when I do this again, which makes life a lot easier, and a few hitchhikers. Okay, so I'm going to use one of these bigger bags, and a lot of the ones that I've emptied will end up with all my spare baggies anyway, and we'll pop that in my plant pot over here. Okay. What colours next? Let's do yellow and orange. So we've definitely got some that are more yellow. They're still, yeah, they're 2 slightly different shades. That's a lemon yellow. That's a limey green. Oranges, oof, oranges are hard as well. because I look at that in one angle and they're the same, but I put them on top of each other and they're not. You've got quite a few tones of mustard and brown when it comes to yellow that make things confusing. Okay, do any of those? Okay, so they're all more the yellows. These have got orange tones, but I don't think I have any yellows in here. So I have a pink and a peach. I have an orange. No, browns and pale ones. Okay, so yellow. Don't need, oh, I do have a lighter colour. Oh, it's not a yellow though. Okay. Any of my other oranges match? Those two do. These are more muted. No. Not a pure match. They're close, but they're not a pure match. Okay, so oranges, I had 720 was the orange that I had. And that looks like that one. Yes, it is. So I'm going to tip them together. They are close enough to be the same for my liking. And then I'm going to get my 720s. Where are they? There they are. And we'll bop those two together. There's no others that grab me as potentially being the same colour at the moment. So we'll get those back, and then, no, that's a pink. That's a peach. Okay, so that looks like that is all of my oranges and yellows. They're really hard to match up. I think the reds were easier. So I'm going to get those into a bag. And we'll get those thrown in. And that one looks like a yellow when you look at it, but when you put it up next to a yellow, it looks like a lime green. Okay. Browns and peaches. So these are ones that looked brown when they were next to something. Very dark brown. And sometimes it's hard to tell around the baggies. Okay. So they're very orangey, but they look the same colour. Is that one the same? Nope. We've got some peachy colours. In fact, let's just group it. Peachy. They're darker. They're definitely a brown. Brown. Peachy. Browns. They're more of a tanny grey colour. They actually look the same, so I'm going to combine them while I'm here because I know I don't have this colour to deal with, but I'm going to combine them because they are both squares and it just saves me moving bags about. Okay, so in here I do have a few that I could potentially say are Peachy Tones. That's one of them. So what's this one? 402. So let's see if any match this. I don't think they do. No. And Peachy Tones, as you can imagine, are extremely hard to match up. It's like skin tones and makeup. It's just, oh, too many. And when I look at 402, which is what this is, in a square that I've got, it's completely shockingly different. But I actually don't have a bag for 402. So I'm going to get one of these baggies that I've just emptied, and I'm going to use that. I'm then going to pop in one of my little paper inserts for these. And then I just need to pause you while I go and grab my circle stickers, and I can make this one a new label. Okay, so I've got a sheet of label stickers, and this one is the round. So I'm of course going to use a round sticker and label it up as 402. So that's another colour I've gained that I didn't have before. Okay, so let's have a look. What have we got left that we need to deal with? Take the sticker off enough that it's not staring me in the face. Okay, so this looks, I'll try and do these in order. So that one looks more like what I'd class as a pink. It is peachy, but I'd still say it was a pink. This one is probably more a colour I'd put in the browns. So let me find where they are. Oh, I don't think any of those are that dark. No, they're not. Did I put any of them in the lighter colours? Nope. Hopefully I didn't put them in the pinks, but if I did, that's a problem for later down the track, because there's a limit. Okay, 758. So I need my other box. 758. Do I have one for this? I do. See, it's a very peachy, pinky colour. It's not that one, no. And that one's actually a little bit darker than the one that was already in there, but the one that was already in there doesn't match any of those either. So we'll class that one as done. And then these two colours here, one of them is a very dark brown, which I'll get to in a minute, but the other one's a green. So this is my other sort of paler peachy colour, 950, which I'd say is that one. I don't think it's any of these. No. And as soon as I hold them up, I can quite often tell. If I'm umming and ahhing and think they possibly are, then they probably are, due to dye lots. So 950, I have here both, and this is actually a lot darker, what I've already got. So I'm going to have a quick scan through now and see if there's any that I can mix in as being the same, because frankly there's just far too many peach ones here. No, none of them are close enough. So we'll put these lighter ones in because that's what they said they were. And then we'll put these ones in with the squares. And at least it's another bag down. And it's squares, so I don't tend to mix them up with round ones at a later date. 950. Okay. So what else do I have in here? So I have, oh, this is one I classed as a brown. Sort of a reddy brown, but I classed it as a brown. No, not that one. Too dark, too purple, too brown. I want sort of a reddy brown. I don't think I have it. No, close but no cigar. Nope. Okay, so 919 can go away. And of course you're not always going to have every colour that you go to put away from every painting, because of course I had a colour before that I've never had in all the paintings I've done when I went to put it away. So that 919 is a pretty good match as well to what I already had. And now I've lost the spot where I need to put it away. So 3 colours to go. And a lot of them are brownie tones, so we'll deal with the rest later. So this is, oh, that is not that one. Nope. Close. No, it's none of those. So it's none of those. I've just checked because this is one that's sort of in the middle. So I want to check I've not classed it as a brown when I've looked at it, depending on the angle. See, they're very, very close, but they're not exactly the same. They're not exactly the same to each other either. Those two are though. So I'll team those together in a minute. Nope. Okay, so this one is 3853. So I'm actually going all the way to my 3rd box of diamonds. And let's find 3853. I do have a bag. It actually has an even different colour tone in it, which is more that one, but not quite. So I'm going to stick with the one I've got and move on from there, because I will be here all day otherwise. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes not. Oh, we did have one more brown actually. It was dark brown. So 838. I've got labels stuck to my fingers. So 838 is a very dark brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bag these two up that I decided were the same earlier. This is just so I feel like I'm getting somewhere. And I'm going to bag these two up that I also said were the same, because we know we don't need these sorts of shades for what I've got left to match. So I'm going to get a bigger bag and I'm going to get these put out of the way so I'm not dealing with them. Say, I feel like I'm progressing a little bit then. I am going to check these very dark browns because actually that one matches. That one, not quite. That one's more like 3371, but that one matches 838, so they can go in the bag. And then I don't think I'm going to find, oh, I could find some in here actually. Yeah, they look the same. I'm going to check these against each other as well because I haven't done it with this darker section. No, they're definitely not. Nope. No. So none of those match now, so I'm just going to check them against each other. So we've got sort of paler shades. None of those match, so they can go into the bag. And then we've got darker shades. So I'm sort of whittling it down a little bit each time by grouping ones that look similar as though they could match. Those are actually purpley browns. Nope. And those don't match either. Not exactly. So they're bagged up and that's the browns. These ones can go away. So that's another 2 bags down. And this is 838. We're getting much more space on the desk now as we go along. So 838, that's 839, there's 838. So the one that was slightly darker is probably 839 because they are very, very close. And you could, if you had the time, check your colours around it, you know, for ones that are a very similar shade. But at the moment, I'm going for the quicker option. I'm going for just one set of things at a time. Okay, so green one. So now we have this green one and then we have one pink one to do. So as I grab the greens, I'm hopefully going to sort of, that's borderline. I'm going to group them just a little bit. If I can, I'm going to see if any are similar, just to sort of pare them down a bit. See, that's one that's a borderline brown. So that's sort of a bluey. That's a bluey. Oh, they're the darker, more army green. What else have we got? That's an army green. Pale green. Limey green. Definitely more bluey green, lime, blue. Close, but not close enough. I think it's more like this one. That's more of an army colour. That's an olivey green. It's probably more in that range. Army and olive probably mixed together a little bit. And then there's that one that was borderline yellow or green. That one looks borderline grey or green. That's more of a bottle green. That's bright green. Okay, so I've not found one that matches this, but while I was doing them, I've sort of congregated them a little bit. So let's get this one away because this is 905. Before I forget what number it is or forget what I'm doing with it. And actually 905, I don't have one either. So we'll have one of the baggies from before. Just a little piece of paper, just a little bit stronger than printer paper. I find when you've only got a few baggies, a few diamonds in the baggie, it helps it to stand upright in your tub or in my spare storage. So this one is 905. I'm going to peel the labels off them later because they're completely done, so I'm not going to get too confused, not yet anyway. Okay, so I'll bob that one away and then I'm going to finish sorting out the greens. So these two I'd say are the same. Now this one does have sort of the packaging left in it, which is sometimes the way we work, especially if we're doing something small like a notebook or a bookmark. There's another one in there. So those two can go together. They're not like anything else. Yeah, I'd say those two are the same. What else have we got here? Okay, that one definitely isn't. That one definitely isn't. They're very similar, but not quite. So we'll combine these two. Just to help with the greens a little bit. I don't think I've got any bigger bags. Oh, that one's, no, that one's not bigger. Okay, I'll find some bigger bags afterwards. I'll go rummaging. So we've got 2 squares, but they don't match. We've got 3 rounds, they don't match. And then, so they're both square. Let's split into square and round because there's that many of them in these. I don't want to make a mistake. Okay, so rounds. No, they're different. They're the same. That's a square. That's close, but not quite close enough. Okay, so I've got 2 that match. So the throw them together. And I say you can do this process first if you wish, sort of getting ones that pretty much match close together. And then I'm just going to check the square versions. Well, those two do match. Because I think sometimes these companies that don't label them with the DMC numbers do actually use very similar colours to each other. Or they're actually the same company. Because yeah, I think those two match as well. It's just the shade of the bag. So I'm going to combine them. They're close enough that it's not going to be a big issue. I am conscious this video is taking its sweet time. Let's say I'll find something to put these two together. I might even just go and get a sandwich bag out of the kitchen. But I'll pop the greens together before I pop them away in my tub for the next instalment when I'm prepared for it. Okay, so the last colour that I need to put away from this painting that I'm dekitting is this sort of, I'd say more pink. So as I'm going through, I'm going to sort of separate into a more hot pink and a more pale pink. And then I've got a dusty pink just to confuse matters. But I don't think, well that's even a pinky purple. Oh, we might even have a winner. So palish, hot pink. That's more of a pale. Okay, so we have one that matches, and it's a round bonus because then they can just get tipped together. Makes it easier for me. 351. This is the last one to go away. Do we have a baggie for it? Do we? We don't. So, get another baggie, recycling the ones that we've just emptied. Pop them both together. And I've gained another colour. In fact, twice. And I've never had this colour, not in a round before anyway. Where did I put my pen? There it is. So this was 351. So that can go in if I can get hold of it. It's always harder to get hold of the cards when there's no bags in between them. Okay, so I have successfully dekitted one kit and got rid of quite a few of my spares. So I have my non-DMC numbers. These are all baggies that I'm going to be sorting out shortly. Now some of them of course have just been combined with similar colours, but quite a few of them have gone away and now have a DMC code assigned to them. And if you do that, of course, once the big process is done, but if you do that with each painting that you go to put away, you'll eventually work your way through most of them and hopefully keep your spares at a manageable level. I am going to sort of sort these out, the blues and the pinks, before I put them away for next time. But I think we've been through enough matching up. There's not really much more I can teach you. I am just looking by sight. So those two by sight match to me. So I'm going to put those two in the same bag. And that's just so that next time when I'm looking, I'm not messing about with quite as many loose bags. And hopefully over time things will get better. I am hoping to come back with another video showing you another way that you can deal with diamonds that don't come with a code, don't come with a DMC code. I just need to do a bit more preparation for that one. So I'll get it done as soon as I can. I just can't promise how quick that will be, but I will definitely get to it as soon as I can. And yeah, hopefully I'm also going to have some ways of using them without putting them away in your spares. So maybe you could use this to use up your spares that don't have DMC numbers, as well as the ones that do. And yeah, just a way to have a bit more fun with your diamonds, and in effect what is leftovers. But yeah, hit the subscribe button so that you get notifications. I do post daily, and I will try and get the other one of these up as soon as I can. But hopefully this gives you something to start off with, so you feel as though you're climbing that mountain. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.